Hello and welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And today, Dave and I will be discussing replays, discoveries, and future fun of board games, which, is the topic that both David and I love dearly and hold close to our hearts. So to kick it off, we're going to be bringing back Azul, which I'm excited for, and it's really funny because Azul is one of those games, which I know that you'll explain it in a little bit more detail, but just a brief overview is just a game that I lose at, but I still love it. I changed my thinking for this replay here, and I feel that helped propel me into victory. So, Dave, you want to take it away and let us know what Azul is all about?
Yeah, so Azul is a tile drafting game where you're trying to collect tiles onto your board, where you're basically building this mosaic, and it has these beautiful colored tiles that you fill these factories or circles in the middle of the table, and you take turns picking all of the tiles of one color from one of those factories, or all the tiles of one color from the middle. And you're basically trying to fill in this left side of your board, where when you complete an entire row, at the end of that round, you get to shift one of those tiles into the corresponding spot on your main mosaic board, and you score points for connecting tiles. And then the game's over once somebody's completed a whole horizontal row, and you get bonus points for horizontal rows, vertical rows, and completing all of one color. But there's an aspect where if you can't place tiles accordingly, they drop to the bottom of your floor, essentially, and you get negative points. So you're trying to grab tiles that you need or force your opponent into a position where they have to take a bunch of tiles that they don't need and get a bunch of negative points. This is just a game that I really enjoy, and I love coming back to it. It's really fast, too. I think we play rounds in about 15 minutes or so. But I'm curious, how has your perception changed now that we've played a bunch of other games? And this was actually the first game that we played together, so it was kind of exciting to come back to it.
I think about a lot of things when it comes to Azul. So not only is it the first game that we played together, but it holds a lot of special moments in general to me. So the first moment is that when you were discussing the little background of Azul, you were saying that it's based off the tiles in Portugal, and player one is designated by who went to Portugal last and stuff like that. And I was teasing you because I was just like, oh, one of my favorite people, he goes to Portugal a lot and brings me back souvenirs. So I feel like I get to go first, and you said that's not how that works, but sure. So just a few fun facts that every time I play this game, this is what I think of. I know you didn't really ask this, but we're going to go that way anyways.
We're going to go down the journey.
I'm just going to make this game cooler for you, okay? So Azul, the Portugal tiles, those Portugal tiles, you can actually find some in Portugal that look similar to that. And if you didn't know, I know that you'll love this because you're equally a bookworm, as am I. In Lisbon, it actually has one of the oldest bookstores in the world. It was founded in 1732, and the person that goes to Portugal all the time, because they knew I love books and libraries.
Yeah.
And, just the smell of pages.
I do too.
I know you do.
It's so amazing.
He brought me back a painting that somebody created outside of that library. So,
ooh.
Yeah, every time we play that, I'm always like, oh, it's so sweet, But going back to us, we also played it on your birthday, and that was exciting.
We did.
And it was our first 10 by 10, and during that, we found an amazing soundtrack that we just listened to during our replay of this game.
It's a requirement to play this game.
It is a requirement. You could play the same song for all of the games that we play of it, and it would still be wonderful. And I don't know the lyrics, but I sing the melody, so...
But it's been a while since we played it, and playing that soundtrack just now. And by the way, I have to mention, we got to our 50th play of Azul in this round where we played 3 rounds in a row.
It's like a 50th anniversary. We need a plate.
Yeah. But I put on that soundtrack, and it just really took me back. It was from Melodice, which is a website where you can just type in any board game, and people have created soundtracks. Yeah. Some of the songs on the soundtrack didn't quite make sense, but hey, I'm all for it.
I know, I liked it. It was kind of like comedic relief, but we'll have to add the link to our Patreon so that other people can check out this soundtrack too.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering too, your win percentage for Azul after 51 plays is 45%.
Thank you.
So sad to pepper that in there.
No, it's okay.
Because I don't, these days your win percentage is going up. You're at 53%.
Okay.
So when I do win a game, I have to gloat a little bit.
Well, no, you can gloat. So here's my theory with Azul. We went back for our replay of it, and we played 3 rounds, and this is the theory I came up with. So if you notice that the first two rounds I had lost, right?
Yeah.
And the last round I won. You know why?
Why?
Because I pulled a Dave.
What was that?
So I noticed that with Azul, anytime you took too long, I racked up points like crazy. I would get 30 extra points for completing 3 colors, or I would have 3 rows and 3 columns. I would do something beautiful when it comes to tile building. But when you finish the game sooner, you won. So I noticed that, and I took keynote. So the previous game that we just completed, I was like, nope, I'm gonna be Dave, and I'm gonna try to make this go as fast as possible. And I actually ended the game quicker this time, and I did what you did, where you have all of your tiles next to each other, so you get more points throughout it.
Yeah.
And usually I don't do that. Usually I'm more worried about getting all of the colors.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the 10 points at the end. But
is that a distraction for you?
It is. That is my rats.
I love that saying now.
I know. That's why I paid attention, and then I adapted, because my play style is never the same. It is strategically different, and then I overcame. Adapt, overcome.
I think this is a 5-round game now, because if you make it go any longer than that, you're going to rack up all these points. But within the 5 rounds, you really have to think about how you can maximize your points, and placing them by each other is key. So
yeah.
I like if I notice that you are trying to complete tiles close by one another, I might grab the ones that you need.
I saw that. I saw you started sweating at that last one. But no, 5 rounds is interesting that you bring that up, because we didn't refill the bag. That was
a single game.
Yeah, all 3 of the rounds that we played. Tonight was the first night where we didn't go again.
How do you think, in terms of your enjoyment of the game, since we initially played it, where does it sit today? Is it still a keep it to play?
Oh, yeah.
Straight away?
Oh, yeah. It's a keep it to play. Maybe some upgrade components. The item that goes over the board that keeps the tiles in place. It has, like,
overlay?
Squares. Yeah, an overlay. That would be fun. And it's easy to set up.
It's really fast.
Yeah, because there's no coordinating of things. You just grab from the bag and go. You don't have to worry about organizing all the colors or tiles.
You just throw them out and get going.
Get going.
My enjoyment definitely hasn't gone down. It's about the same. I really enjoy it. It has this cozy, classic feel to it. I don't think that this is going to be a game that we ever trade away, to be honest. Because I think every once in a while we can just come back to it and pull it off the shelf, reminisce about the good old soundtrack that we found, and really just the memory of initially getting into the hobby together. That was really special.
Don't they have a travel version of this too, like a smaller one?
So there's a travel version, and then I think there's also a giant version.
There's a giant version?
Yeah.
Like you need 2 hands for the square? Or...
I don't know. I don't know how big it actually is, but I've heard of that.
Okay.
And then there's a chocolatier version.
I've seen the chocolatier version, and that's why I've been working on making our own chocolatier version, just because we have the pieces then, instead of purchasing a whole new game, we could just change the pieces out.
Yeah.
Because I'm just making it with clay, so it's kind of similar.
Yeah. We've played a couple of the spin-off titles of this. Azul, Stained Glass of Sintra, and then...
Oh, the garden one?
The Summer Garden, or Queen's Garden.
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And I think this is just my favorite one. The other ones were decent. I think they convoluted the essential game into something that I didn't quite want it to be.
Yeah, I liked the pieces in the stained glass one because I thought it was really pretty. But I agree with you that Azul, this original one, is definitely my favorite. It's simple, but it's just challenging enough and competitive enough that I don't feel that it needs to be changed, and I like it a lot.
Me too. What about the dual side of the board? Do you like playing on the one that is preset, or the one where you have to make your own mosaic?
I like to make your own because you get confused.
I do. It creates a layer of puzzliness that I think distracts from the strategy of the game.
You are so funny. I just set it up the same way that it is on the other side.
Yeah.
I have like a photographic memory, so
Why can't it just be the other side then?
Well, because I know you don't have a photographic memory.
I always mess it up a little bit, and then I corner myself into a position on the board where I can't place a color because I've messed up the order.
Well, you know that the board's 5 by 5, right? So then each color, there's 5 different colors. So you just have to set the rows, and then you just have to fill in from there.
No, I like the preset one. My simple mind. Oh, but that was fun. I enjoyed playing that again with you.
I did too. I really love bringing it back out, and I forgot how much I love it. And I mean, playing it again just reminded me on why we started this journey.
Yeah.
It was cute.
That's when we initially had the idea for the podcast and doing a 10 by 10 challenge and all that.
It's so nostalgic. I feel like crying. I know I'm 400 some plays.
476 plays.
Yes. Yeah, that's how many plays.
You've played 47 different games at this point, too.
40. See, that's just, so nostalgic.
Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know if I would consider you a new gamer at this point. Who knows?
I don't know. If you were to ask old Julie if she would be playing this many board games, she'd be like, what? Board games?
You're going to learn that many games?
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's going to be fun.
But yeah, so that's really exciting. Which leads us into more excitement of some new games we tried.
Yeah. Discoveries.
Yes, into discoveries. So we tried 2 new discoveries. We did The Year of the Dragon and
Hanamikoji.
Yes, I loved Hanamikoji because the artwork was beautiful. It was very easy to learn, very straightforward. So you got 4 action tiles, and one of those tiles allowed you to keep a card. The second one allowed you to discard 2 cards. The third one, you picked 3 cards. The opposite player got to choose one of those cards, and you got to keep them and give it to one of the geishas. And then the fourth one allowed you to build 2 piles from 4 cards, and then the opposing player got to pick one of those piles to use on the geishas. And the objective was to win over the favor tokens of the geisha. So the turns basically followed us so each person got 4 turns, and to start a round you would grab a card, move it into your hand, and then pick one of the tokens that you haven't used yet. Once all the tokens are used, then you're done playing. Then you count up the sides. So if there was more geisha cards on my side, the favorite token would go to me. If there was more on Dave's side, the favorite token would go to him. And then whoever had the most favorite tokens won, and or whoever got to 11 points first won. And you played 3 rounds, right?
Yeah, and you would win if you had at least 4 favorite tokens, or if you reached, I think, 11 favorite points. But we would play 3 rounds. At the end of those rounds, if the winning condition wasn't met, then we would just let whoever had the most favorite points, and that person would win.
Yeah, and I don't know, this is like an Easter egg or whatnot, I'm not 100% sure, but I realized that I learned games backwards. And I explained them backwards to people, and I didn't realize it until discussing it with somebody else and trying to teach them. But I always want to know how to just take my turn and never the objective. But it seems like the majority wants to know the objective and then how to take your turn and how to win. So if you are listening and would love to tell us how you like to be taught, we would love to hear it. So you could do it if you're listening from Spotify. You can actually comment what you like more, if you like to learn the objective first, or how to take your turn first. Or if you're not listening from Spotify and listening on YouTube or anything like that, you can always just leave a comment, because I would like to know what's more popular and if I'm just the oddball out.
I had to completely re-change how I thought about teaching games when I started playing games with you, because I'm used to starting with the backstory of the game, the theme, what is it we're doing, and then the objective. That's the first thing I talk about, and then I go into what the turns look like and really how to play the game and those details first, and before you even learn how you win the game, and which is really interesting.
I know, I'm so odd, because I remember there was this one game that we were playing and you were trying to tell me like the thematic background and just the objective, and I was like, okay, but none of that's gonna click if I don't know how to play. And you're like, but most people like it this way. I was like, no.
Well, it's funny because I came across a forum post on BGG that was talking about the right way to teach a game. Mm-hmm. And it went in that order. It was the start with the theme, then the objective, and then the turns, details. And it was funny because I was looking at it and I was telling you, this is the exact opposite of you. You could start at the bottom of this list and then work your way up in the opposite direction. The theme is the last thing you want to know. Like, as we're playing, oh, by the way, we're, I don't know, fill in the blank, whatever the theme is of the game that we're playing.
I know. Which is maybe just because I think my mind works better with patterns, and telling me the objective doesn't necessarily help me learn the game. Well, if you tell me the pattern of the game, I can understand the pattern and kind of guess the objective from there.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know. But that's just how my mind works. It's quirky. So,
yeah.
I like the game. How do you feel about the game?
I like it a lot because it's interesting that most of the action tiles that you use don't directly put a card in front of your side.
Yeah.
It forces you into a situation where you have to give up cards to the other person. Mm-hmm. So you have to think about what cards they need, what cards you need. How can you position the cards in the right way where you trick the other person into taking cards that you don't want is really difficult. So I'm used to games like Battle Line or Lost Cities where you take cards from your hand and play them onto your side. But this one is tricky because you have to do that all in a roundabout way. But I thought that was really fascinating, and it's a really quick game with a really small deck of cards. So it's just, yeah, it's a fun, perfect 2-player card game, I think.
I think that's a good point where you brought up Battle Line and Lost Cities, because those 2 games you destroy me at.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I am the one that wins more at this one is because you're kind of messing with your opponent. Like, it's more so a mind game.
It is a mind game.
I'm guessing. And it reminds me of that magic trick I do with cards. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where, depending on if I catch somebody noticing the trick, I switch it up, but I still know what I'm doing. And that's how I feel about this one. I might notice what you're doing, or vice versa, and then I'll kind of switch my strategy to make you pick the card I don't want, or what have you.
True.
What I do really like about this game is that you use all of the resources.
Every single round.
Yeah, every single card is used.
Mm-hmm. -1 at the beginning of each round. You take 1 out. So there's 1 piece of unknown information.
I didn't know that. I guess I didn't notice you doing that. I thought that was just an extra card of some sort. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I like it. I like even that aspect of taking 1 out. Now that I know that, it helps with card counting. If you're a big card counter, you won't know because there's a mystery card that's left out. So if a card states 5, there might not be all 5 in the deck because it might be the mystery card that's just hanging by itself.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that you do have to do all 4 actions, but you get to decide the order that you do them. So the powerful ones you can do as your first turn, but that might leave you in a situation where there's a less desirable action and you need to get rid of a card that you would really need. So it's this really interesting back and forth game. And the rules do have a variant of just playing 3 rounds, or you could keep playing until somebody wins, but I like there being a cutoff where, okay, let's just count the points and there's a clear winner at that point. And really small box, you could take this with you anywhere. Yeah. So really, how I would define a perfect 2-player game, this would be it.
Mm-hmm. And the art is seriously gorgeous.
It is.
Like, it's absolutely stunning.
The cards are big, colorful.
Mm-hmm. It's very eye-catching.
And this would be a game I think you could teach to just about anybody, even somebody who doesn't play games at all.
I think so. Like, I picked up on this really quick. And this was... yeah, very straightforward game, I'd say, because the tiles that you flip over show you exactly what to do. Like, they have a check mark or an X. Mm-hmm. So, and it has that number of cards that you use.
Very self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and the arrows. So that was great. And that leads us to the second game that we played, which was the Year of the Dragon. And Dave picked this one for me because... growing up, and even now, I celebrate Lunar New Year, and January 29th concludes the Year of the Dragon, which is also Dave's zodiac sign. Sorry, Dave. Just to make you feel better. No, that's okay. My zodiac sign's the ox. And, you know, Lupin's, because I know we're all curious. Lupin's also an ox.
We were all curious.
Lupin's just like me. So,
I love this. Yeah. I love that you know Lupin's zodiac
it's
sign.
It's a metal ox, too.
A metal ox?
He's a metal ox.
It sounds extreme. Like he's a machine.
He is a machine.
I imagine this giant mech of a cat walking around.
Like a robot.
Wreaking havoc upon the city.
Who, like, blows flames.
Yeah.
He's like,
with these glowing eyes.
Yes. Oh, so cute.
Such a metal ox.
I love him. Yes. So... January 29th concludes the Year of the Dragon, and so Dave found a board game that was called Year of the Dragon, just to help finish it off with a blast. And
was the game a blast, though? That's the big question.
it was traded away for me.
Immediately.
Just spoiler alert, it was traded away. I'm sorry. So, yeah, everybody, if you are Year of the Snake, January 29th marks the start of the Year of the Snake. So, yay to that. I'm excited. I was going to tell you guys, the whole Lunar New Year story, but I'm guessing you'd rather hear about the board game.
What?
So, if you want to hear about the Lunar New Year story, just let me know and I'll tell you. I will.
Whether you like it or not.
But Dave, you want to go into the gameplay of it?
Yeah, I picked this game in the Year of the Dragon for the obvious reasons that you mentioned, but also it's a Stefan Feld game, and you and I played 3 Stefan Feld games in this 10x10 challenge that we're doing. Notre Dame, Bruges, and Castles of Burgundy. So I thought, hey, let's try a 4th. And this is one I had heard about for a long time. It came out the same year as Notre Dame, so it's an older of his titles, but Stefan Feld is probably my favorite designer of all time. His games are fun. They provide a lot of bonuses. They're exciting. Every turn feels like this whole palooza of doing bonus actions and getting points, and basically just a lot of dopamine hits. So his games are real joy to play. But this game is known for being kind of opposite, really, of his design style. It's known for being very punishing and restrictive, and I guess I'll just explain what the game is. You are playing over 12 months of the Year of the Dragon, and your goal really is to avoid all of these disasters that come your way. It's not a good year. In the year 1000, which is when this game takes place in China, and it's basically this worker placement style game where each turn you are going to place your dragon onto the board, and each round you divide up these action cards into piles depending on the number of players. So in a 2-player game there are 2 piles, and you're going to pick one of those piles and put your dragon on it, and then you get to pick one of the actions from the cards within that pile, and then your opponent can place on the other pile for free, or they can pay you, I think, 3 gold in order to go on yours as well. And the action cards basically give you certain things and bonuses and resources. You actually get these people that you can put into your palaces that you build up as well. And then depending on your action, the strength of that might depend on the people that you have within your palaces. So basically you're trying to gather things, and then each round there's a different event that happens. And throughout the course of the game, each event will happen twice. Some of the events will make you have to pay a certain number of gold coins to the emperor. One will make you have to pay rice. Another one, you look at whoever has the most fireworks, and that person gets points, and then the other person gets less points if they have at least one. Another one makes you have to get rid of 3 people from your palaces. And at the end of each round as well, if you don't have somebody in your palace, it'll lose a level. And then once it gets down to 1 level, if there's nobody in that, then it gets destroyed. And at the end of each round, you get points for your different palaces and bonus points for certain people that you can have in your palaces as well. And you basically just try to survive the game, because there are severe consequences if you can't meet the objective, and it can become really punishing if you can't keep up or plan ahead, to the point where you could end up with literally nothing. And I think turn order is really important in this game. You don't want to be in a position where you can't get the actions that you need. So it feels pretty competitive, but I don't know. Julie, what did you think about this game? Was it fun? How do you compare it to the other Stefan Feld games that we played so far?
It was really restrictive, and I like restrictive games. I do, but I like restrictive games where you have a chance. With this one, if the player beat you to a certain portion, like if you weren't first player, then you really couldn't do anything. And that was frustrating, I would say, because you only got 1 move per round.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. You only got 1 move. So if the player 1 picked a spot and you wanted that spot, you had to pay them, but your gold is so precious in this game that you had to be extremely mindful. So you didn't want to waste it on going on their spot just for something, because you would need it later for the emperor. Mm-hmm. And if you couldn't pay it, then you lost a person. And that would make the game harder, because you need those people for the thing. So it was extremely restrictive.
You're just hanging on by a thread in this game.
Yeah, and I do like restrictive games because I feel that the win is more satisfying. But in this one, I did feel very confused. Even if I won, I didn't feel satisfied. I felt more so, oh, that's it? That's everything? Oh, okay. So I think the term I would use would be it was a very stale, perhaps?
Dry,
that's the word. Where it's not like super exciting, but it's not the worst game ever. It's just a game. I do like, though, making my temples higher.
Yeah.
Yes.
You built a lot of temples, too. I think one of the games you had like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I did.
So you're getting all the points at the end of the round. But I think you bring up a good point about it feeling restrictive, but not necessarily in the right ways, because we've played Agricola and we both really enjoyed that game, and I would define that as restrictive. But I think games that are good and restrictive also can have very satisfying turns where you can do really cool things and feel really accomplished. And wow, that was an exciting moment. There just weren't many exciting moments in this game because you said that each round you're only doing one action, and the actions themselves aren't even that exciting. It's like collecting a few rice or collecting a couple of fireworks, or building another level in your palace. It didn't really feel like there were turns that it felt like my whole strategy came to fruition into this big moment where everything led to now, and everything I planned for has become this awesome engine that I built up. I averted this disaster that came my way, but guess what? There's this other one coming next round that I haven't even began planning for. And wow, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I do think that this game, though, a positive about it is that it's extremely simplistic.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something very straightforward, very simple, it's not a stressful game. It's restrictive, but it's not stressful.
No.
I guess, if that makes sense. And maybe it'd be better with more players, because if you did have more players, the tiles would be split up a little bit more, so then you have more of a chance to grab something that you like.
That's true.
If you're that 3rd or 4th player, then you're kind of stuck grabbing the leftovers too. So it's 50-50. It's 50-50, but since you and I usually play 2 players, I would say it's a trade it away.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really do think this game would be a lot better with maybe 3 or 4 players. I think it goes up to 5. But I don't think that it's that great of a 2-player game. And I looked up on BGG, it is generally not recommended with 2 players. And I think probably for that reason. It's just with more players, you get more options of where to go, but it's also a little bit more competitive. And you could look around the table and try to plan things out a little bit more, but also laugh when somebody's plan doesn't quite go as anticipated. So.
Because that reason I had so many temples was because I kept getting the one I didn't want, because you were player 1 for all of it, because you were up on the player track. On the first player track. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll just build another temple. Like, I'll just build another one, I guess.
It has.
I mean, in a way, it was kind of funny. But let's lead into our future hosts of games.
Do you want to kick it off?
I do want to kick it off because this is something that I talked about previously, but I'm bringing it back because we still haven't played it, which is fine. No stress.
Okay.
It makes me want to play it even more because you gifted it to me on New Year's. So I want to play Septima. I want to play it so bad, and we have it now.
I know, we do. It's sitting in shrink wrap and everything.
No, I can't wait.
What excites you about this game? I'm just curious. Everything.
The theme excites me. The art excites me.
It's really cool art.
From what I know about the gameplay, that excites me because it seems more thought-provoking. So that just really excites me. I'm so worried. I need to not get so excited because I do this to myself where I get really excited and I make these expectations in my head and then I get let down. But, I don't think this one's going to let me down because lots of people who know us or at least listen to us, they've reached out and said, you will like it based off of the other games you like. This is a game that you will enjoy. So I am looking very forward to it, yes. That is mine. That's my future hopes and dreams.
Well, I hope to make your hopes and dreams come true.
Thank you.
And we have the game now, so
we do.
Hopefully we get to play it at some point soon. My game that I'm so excited about, it is difficult to get a hold of right now.
Okay.
And you're going to laugh because I'm a huge fan of the show Ancient Aliens.
I do.
And love watching that show. I really want to play SETI. and it stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Oh my god.
And I honestly couldn't tell you what exactly you do in this game. All I know is that you're looking for extraterrestrial intelligence and you're exploring space and trying to find signs of alien life. And that alone gets me really excited about this game. And I see it everywhere. I see pictures of it. The artwork looks really cool. The table presence looks awesome. Man, if I can find a copy of this game, I've been keeping my eyes out. I really want this one. I think we'd have a lot of fun just based off of the theme alone. It gets me really excited.
Do I buy it for you as like a late New Year's gift? Is that how it works?
I guess at this point it could be early birthday, late New Year's, who knows?
Yeah, I guess it could be an early birthday. How great would it be that we started our journey last year on your birthday with Azul, and then this time around you get the game that you've been wanting.
That'd be awesome.
I think that's nice. Nice and fair.
Yeah.
But I do look forward to playing that with you. I have seen pictures and stuff, and it looks pretty intense. And I think, would that be my first? I just heard this word recently. Modular?
Modular board?
Yeah.
Does it have modular boards? I'm not quite sure.
I don't know.
But
I don't even know what that is.
Have we played any games with modular boards?
That just means that it's a moving board, right?
Well, it can mean a couple of things. Either the setup of the game changes and the board is customizable, or it's a game where you like Carcassonne would be a modular board kind of.
Oh, yeah, because we make the map.
You make the map and it
changes.
Change, though. What is a modular board? Now you have my brain is breaking a little bit.
I kind of thought it was where there's a circular piece or whatever shaped piece and you rotate it.
Oh,
that's what I thought, but I don't know. I totally don't know.
You have me all messed up because I have Zulk in the Mind Counter, and that's of what you're describing. That would be the one that I have that we haven't played yet, and I think you would really like that game too. So yeah, to answer your question, that would be our first, if that's the definition of modular board.
Okay. I mean, maybe that's some homework we can do. We can look up what that is.
Well, I'm excited to try those, and I had a lot of fun playing these newer ones too with you.
I'm excited too, and I had lots of fun playing the new ones as well. And just for funsies, wow.
It's okay. I'm not here to judge.
I know, but if you as the listener would like to guess what color Dave and I play, because we were discussing it recently, because in our photos we tend to always have the same colors of the ones that we lean towards. If you would like to guess, you can either leave a comment of your guess of what player color Dave is and what player color I am, or you can, if you're on Spotify, you can vote there too. We'll have votes. So that'll be exciting, and we would love to hear from you, especially if you leave a comment and give like the reasoning behind it. Julie is this color because blah, blah, blah.
Psychoanalyze
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
I'd love that. I'd love to read them. That'd be really exciting, and we would appreciate it so much. And that leads us into the end of our episode today, and we thank you so much for listening. If you would like to join us on Patreon, you can find some Lupin destruction of things, giving Dave anxiety.
Causing Dave grave anxiety
on our Patreon, where you can join for free. Or if you would like to support us, we would love that too. Our first tier starts at $1, and anything really helps. But it's up to you. We don't mind. Either way is lovely. And then we are also on YouTube. YouTube is Dice Jesters as well as our Instagram. So, dear adventurers, we bid you farewell from the enchanting realm of Dice Jesters. May your dice roll true and your stories be ever whimsical. Until we meet again, keep the magic alive and let your imagination thrive.